So let's talk about control as a trauma response, and specifically as it pertains to creators. If you feel like you can't relax unless you're in control, if uncertainty makes you tense, if visibility makes you freeze, you're not dramatic, you're not overreacting, and you're not broken. You're responding to something your body learned a long time ago. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Sherman Rivers. Today we're exploring truth most creators intuitively feel but rarely understand. Your need for control may not be a personality trait. It may be a trauma response. Not trauma in the dramatic sense, but trauma in the emotional sense. A moment where your nervous system learned, I must protect myself to stay safe. Let me explain how this affects your creativity. So let's dive into what trauma really means. Trauma doesn't always mean something catastrophic. It simply means your nervous system experienced something it didn't have the capacity to process at the time. So it adapted. It learned. Shrink, hide, anticipate danger. Become hyper-aware. Avoid mistakes. Manage others. Control everything possible. Not because you were weak, but because you were surviving. Now, these adaptations didn't end with childhood. They followed you into adulthood, and they follow you into your creative life. Let's talk about how trauma creates control patterns. When your nervous system experiences threat or unpredictability, it builds protective behaviors. For creators, these look like overthinking, perfectionism, overscripting, over-editing, avoidance, emotional shutdown, analysis paralysis, shrinking your ideas. Let me know if any of this sounds familiar. Starting but not finishing, fear of being seen, obsession with outcomes, fear of being misunderstood. Now, these aren't bad habits, they're just safety strategies. Your system is trying to prevent you from experiencing shame and rejection and embarrassment and criticism, punishment, abandonment, the loss of belonging, the exact things it once experienced. So let's get into why creative expression triggers trauma patterns. Creativity requires vulnerability. It requires visibility, uncertainty. It requires imperfection, experimentation, emotional openness, self-trust. But trauma teaches the opposite. It teaches you to stay hidden, stay guarded, stay prepared, stay controlled, avoid mistakes, avoid exposure, and avoid unpredictability. This creates a direct clash. When you move towards creative expression, your trauma patterns move toward protection. Your system isn't resisting creation, it's resisting danger, or what it perceives as danger. So let's talk about how this shows up in real creative behavior. Watch for these signals. Let me know in the comment section if you've experienced any of this. Feeling unsafe when you improvise. This is not a lack of skill, it's a lack of safety. Feeling overwhelmed by simple creative tasks. Your system is activated, not lazy. How about panicking over small mistakes? Your body remembers past consequences. How about feeling drained after creating? Your system was in survival mode the whole time.
Hey, quick break, quick message. If you are stuck forcing output or constantly trying to control your creative process, this is for you. Creator Metaphysics is a free weekly newsletter exploring why creators struggle and how clarity replaces force. Join free at creatormetaphysics.com or scan the QR code you see on your screen. There's also a link down in the description.
What about the need to control every detail? See, predictability equals safety. These aren't flaws. These are the echoes of old adaptations. So here's the breakthrough. Control isn't you, it's a pattern. The most liberating truth you can learn. You need for control isn't your personality, it's your programming. And programming can be updated. When you see control as a trauma response, you stop blaming yourself. You stop judging yourself. You stop thinking you're broken. You stop trying to fix the symptoms. You start healing the root. Control fades when safety grows, and safety grows when your identity strengthens. So, how do we begin releasing these trauma-based control patterns? You do it gently, not forcefully. You start small. Tiny acts of expression signal safety. Let mistakes happen intentionally. Show your system that nothing bad happens. How about this? Practice visibility in controlled doses. Build tolerance slowly. And here's a big one. Reframe activation as familiarity, not danger. You see, this is old programming, not a present threat. And lastly, anchor your identity before you create. A grounded identity calms the nervous system. You're not removing fear, you're retraining your system. And that's the purpose of creative metaphysics, to get down in the weeds and explore these things that nobody really touches on. Often we hear the phrase, just press record. But what about when you can't press record? There's just something that's just preventing you from doing it. Or you press record and you just can't keep doing it for some reason. Press it 1 or 2 times, maybe 3 or 4. And eventually you just stop pressing record because it just doesn't feel right. There's a lot behind that. It gets pretty deep. And that's what we'll be covering in creative metaphysics. So I'll leave you with this. Your need for control isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Wisdom your system learned during a time when it needed protection. But you're not in that environment anymore. And as your identity evolves, your relationship with control will transform. In the next video, we explore why control makes it hard to relax even when you want to. Why you can't relax when you're creating something important.